The Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth is a card set so good looking, it could probably convince your cousin Dave to finally stop playing Uno. Sorry, Dave. Magic the Gathering, it's always been about slick designs, and gameplay kind of smoother than the first sip of your coffee on a Sunday morning as the rain is like coming down the window. Anyway, I recently bought this set and I appreciate that I am late to the party. Although a wizard is never late. You know how it goes. That was cringy. Wow. But you're still here. I hope you are. If you are, thank you. This set just cranks things up like you're that one guy on the barbecue, just turning it up to like nuclear mode. We're talking land cards that look like they came straight out of a fantasy holiday brochure. Sunlit mountains, fiery pits, and everything in between. And the characters, every single hero and villain from Lord of the Rings has had like such a glow up. Even Gollum looks like he's been hitting the gym or at least got a really good skincare routine. Wizards of the Coast, they didn't just sprinkle some magic on this one, they dumped the whole bloody bucket. Later in the video, I'm going to give you a full rundown of starter decks, including the Aragorn and Arwen deck, which is basically like a fantasy picnic, and then the Sauron deck, which is less picnic and more full-blown, well, torture party hosted in Mordor. I'm also going to cover the Commander mode, which is like AKA Magic's Deluxe Chaos Simulator, where Sauron shows up like the Metallica of Middle-earth when they dropped whiskey in the jar and it was the best cover ever with a flaming beat. Anyway, he's that guy in this game. Plus, if you are a total beginner, or your last card game involved beer and blackjack, I'm going to break down how magic works, what the heck a land card actually does, and why Gandalf would just make a great life coach. So, Sauron's the big boss in his own commander deck, strutting around like he's just walked off the runway of, well, evil fashion week, because he looks great. He's got a flaming crown, spiky black robes, and the whole I rule with fire and fabulousness. Meanwhile, Arwen and Aragorn are co-parents of a cozy Shire-inspired starter deck, and they look like they just stepped out of a fantasy wedding magazine, all glowy and graceful and far too good-looking to be doing battle in muddy fields. Now, sure, gameplay is the meat and potatoes of magic, but we cannot ignore the gravy, which is the art. Every card in this set, it looks like someone commissioned it for the cover of an epic novel or a really cool rock album. It's the kind of artwork that might even convince your mate who only plays poker to raise an eyebrow. Basically, it's not just a game, it's a cardboard gallery with swords, spells, and style. If you are a fan of The Lord of the Rings, whether that's the books, the movies, or just that one time you tried to read the Silmarillion and you gave up at page 2, you're probably going to have your eye on this set, even if you've never touched a Magic the Gathering card in your entire life. And here's the good news. You don't need a PhD in wizardry to get stuck in. Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth, it's surprisingly easy to pick up, even in a good old-fashioned cardboard form. You don't need to squint at screens or download some digital doohickey. Why? What the hell is that? This set is made for people who just enjoy epic adventures, really cool art, and maybe someone yelling, "You shall not pass," you know how it goes, across the kitchen table, like a budget Gandalf. So even if the last card game you played, like I said, involved beer and not very serious aesthetics, you are in safe hands. I'm going to be honest with you. My Magic the Gathering journey, it didn't start with a dusty deck in a darkened basement surrounded by teens in cloaks. Disappointing, I know. At the beginning of this year, it was actually my New Year's resolution to get into Magic. So I started playing the modern way. Can you believe it? Can of Monster in hand, hunched over my PC, thanks to Magic the Gathering Arena, and it quickly became one of my favourite hobbies. In the full spirit of transparency, I actually put off for a long time playing the physical version because I genuinely was in the mindset of like, why? Why do I need to do this? Arena does everything for you. It tracks your rules, it adds counters, it stops you from making really stupid mistakes, and it generally holds your hand like a patient wizard dad, and I was just loving life. And then I saw Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth, and let me tell you, it hit me right in my hobbit hole. Hobbit hole? The art, the lore, the whole vibe. It was like Tolkien's world had been rebuilt with cardboard and enchantments. Couldn't say no. I was nervous, but it turns out physical Magic the Gathering isn't that scary, and I'm here to try and help you. So once you kind of wrap your head around the basics, kind of like how turns work, what those little power numbers mean, and that flavour text isn't just about barbecued orcs, it all just kind of clicks. I can't really explain it. Suddenly you're in Middle-earth, slinging spells, summoning elves, and feeling literally like a blue wizard, and it's just glorious. If you are a total beginner and you've made it this far into the video and you're now really confused, the rundown is kind of like Magic the Gathering is a card game where two or more players, hi, I tried to say people and players at the same time and ended up with players, two or more players, they throw down custom built decks. So it's a bit like poker but with dragon spells and far fewer cigars. Annoying. Each deck typically has 60 cards. These include special cards. They're called land. They like your power source and a bunch of other fancy things. You've got creatures, enchantments, sorcery, and effects that make the battlefield way more chaotic than Christmas dinner when someone brings up politics. Sorry, Nan. You and your opponent, you take turns laying down cards, starting with your land card. Think of it, like I said, magic fuel, right? The more land you've got, the bigger and beefier the cards you can play. And the goal is use your cards to attack, defend, cast spells, eventually reduce your opponent's health to 0, and then you can stand up, puff your chest, and do something really dramatic like an evil laugh. I'm not going to do it, that would be embarrassing. Anyway, so if you're feeling we don't take ourselves seriously on this side of the internet, sorry to disappoint. If you're feeling fancy and you want to try a different flavour of magic, there's another popular mode called Commander. Now think of it like the deluxe edition of I can never say Commander without thinking of Game of Thrones. Lord Commander. Bigger deck, if you're South African, try and say that. Bigger personalities and slightly more chaos. Instead of the usual 60 card setup, you get a 100 card deck, with the twist being there's no duplicates allowed. Every card's a special little snowflake. No copy and pasting your way to victory. You can build your own custom Commander deck if you've got the time, the know-how, and a spare weekend. But for the rest of us who get overwhelmed just trying to choose socks in the morning, there are pre-constructed decks ready to go. Just like the excellent Tales of Middle-earth, Hosts of Mordor deck, led by the one and only Sauron. He may be evil, but he knows how to command a table. All decks aim for balance. My video is cringy today. Though much like your uncle's golf swing, things can go sideways real quick thanks to random draws, sneaky opponents, and the occasional curveball card effect. During the time that I have played, albeit very recently, all sorts of decks presented themselves to me, each with their own secret sauce. So some were clever, some were chaotic, and some just wanted to summon 47 squirrels for no good reason. But if we talk about starter decks, because we're all new here, hopefully, and if we're not, please talk to me, because you know I like veterans piping up and sharing their brains. Choosing the right one is kind of like picking a car. You want something that fits your style, you want something that looks cool, doesn't break down. That's what you're looking for. The Aragorn and Arwen deck, it's kind of like your smooth ride. It's full of bright, beautiful lands. Think scenic countryside, not doom and lava, and a bunch of plucky little hobbits with special tricks up their sleeves. It's mostly involving making food. Yes, actual food. It turns out these cards can whip up snacks mid-battle, which your opponent can use to heal. So picture a hobbit getting stabbed, sitting down for second breakfast, and then jumping right back into the fight like nothing happened. There's also plenty of horse riding heroes in this deck, galloping in with fast attacks, and enough health to kind of stick around longer than your mate Gary after you said just one more. Beer, obviously. The Sauron deck, I've name dropped it a lot, but there's a reason for that. It's because it's like the muscle car. It's big, it's dark, it's brooding, it's packed with like creatures who hit hard eventually. But there's a catch. All these evil beasties, they're high maintenance, needing lots of land cards in play before they can really shine. It's kind of like having a chainsaw. Feels cool, but you kind of need to wait for it to warm up first. So early on, you're going to be blocking, dodging, basically surviving until the big hitters can be unleashed. And when they do, party's over, boys. The Hosts of Mordor Commander deck. It's just an absolute unit. But like all good things, like brisket and single malt whiskey and the Empire Strikes Back all at one time, that would be heavenly, wouldn't it? It takes time. Even as a newbie, I could tell this deck packs a serious punch power. It's not like fast food play style vibes. It's more like slow cooked evil stew of pain. Sauron is the main event here. Like I said, like one big Metallica vibe. Once he hits the table, it's bloody showtime. You immediately build a 5-strong orc army, toss 5 cards into every graveyard, and then you get to bring back one creature straight onto the battlefield for free. No land cost, no questions asked. Like resurrecting a UFC fighter mid-match. Of course, there's a catch. He's not cheap. You kind of have to end up waiting like at least 8 turns before you can summon him. 8 whole rounds of praying no one hits you with something ridiculous like flying angels. Or, like I said, a swarm of squirrels on steroids. But here's the twist. When I finally got an opportunity to play him at my local games club, I actually survived long enough to get him out. Get him out, whip him out, dish him out. I don't know. Me. I made it. All 8 rounds. And I can lose at snap to a 7-year-old. So, if I can manage it, you've got a decent chance at managing it too. You just have to play smart, block like your life depends on it, because it quite literally does. And remember, good things come to those who stall. It's basically the Avengers Endgame of decks. Lots of build-up, some emotional drama, and one giant flaming punch of satisfaction when Big Sauron finally shows up. So Magic the Gathering, it might seem intimidating at first, but once you get into the rhythm, tapping lands, summoning creatures, making questionable life decisions, it's probably one of the most rewarding games out there, especially when you're doing it in Middle-earth with Gollum looking like he just signed a modelling contract. This set is beautiful. What else is there to say? I'm only going to implore you one time to please do all those things you need to do to support my tiny channel, and I hope to see you in the next video.